and wow! What a catch!
Floats it. Back corner for Adams. He pulls it in and gets his feet in. Touchdown.
Toss to White. He's in! Patriots win the Super Bowl!
Thank you for watching another episode of Inside the Pylon. Fidel Barraza here alongside Chris Arzola and Walter Stringer. And our special guest tonight, he is a running back at Youngstown State University, Tyshon King. What's going on? What's going on, Ty? How you doing?
What's going on, fellas? I appreciate you guys having me.
Yes, sir. Thanks for taking the time.
Appreciate your time, man. Let's go and get right into things, man. Go ahead and tell us about your football journey.
My football journey, my grandma Priscilla, she signed me up for football. I was about 4 years old. Started out playing for, I'm from Kankakee, Illinois. Started playing for the Eastside Bulldogs. I played from I was like 4 to like 6. My mom didn't let me play when I was like 7. And then I started playing again when I was 8. And I've been playing every year since I was 8 years old.
And how'd you your love for the game? Tell me about that. I mean, did you watch it a lot growing up? Things like that. Like how'd you become a running back?
As a kid, everybody liked to play football. And then I feel like the more I played it, like I developed that love because it brought me like relationships that without it I'd have never had. So my first year I was a fullback, and then I always been like a naturally stocky kid. So like those are kind of kids when you 6, 7, 8, 9, they just do an offensive line. And I wasn't playing running back until I got to 7th grade when I made it to JV, and I was like the fastest kid and like all the sprints and stuff. So then like the JV coach was like, well, we're gonna put you at running back. And then I played running back my JV year. And ever since then, I've just been a running back. So I was kind of like a late bloomer because like a lot of people like say, oh, I've been playing running back my whole life. I didn't start playing running back till I was about 13. So after that, every year after that, I played running back, and obviously I love it. But because I always wanted to be a running back. Nobody want to play on the offensive line. Like you don't get no shine, you don't get no love. Like I wanted to score touchdowns like everybody else. And then like as a kid growing up, my favorite player was LaDainian Tomlinson. So seeing him, like, oh, that's a running back. Like I want to be like him. And when I finally got to start playing running back, like that was like a dream come true. And I done made the most of it up until this point.
LaDainian Tomlinson, what about his game is it that you liked?
Well, I found out about him on Madden. My dad used to have a PlayStation, and it was a Madden with Brett Favre on the cover. And he had like 100 speed. He had like a dark visor, and I'm like, damn. And when I was a kid, like I had a pair of cleats too. When he used to have his like own signature cleats with Nike. So ever since then, you could put like the different colors on the side to make it like whatever color you needed it to be. So then I started like watching him when he's playing with the Chargers, and he was just like, he was crazy to me. Like him and Devin Hester, like those are my guys growing up. And then when he went to the Jets, he had an RI season with the Jets. But that's when I kind of knew it was over with. You kind of sick, kind of in denial. But he was always my just all-time favorite running back. And then now that I get to like, as an adult, I get to sit back and watch him play, just seeing the things he brings to the games, like his elusiveness, but he still run with power. He's real good receiving back, just that kind of stuff. That's somebody I try to model my game after for sure.
Yeah. So your journey has taken you from Northern Michigan to Youngstown State, and now you're preparing for the NFL draft. What has been the biggest lessons you've learned along the way?
Biggest lessons I learned so far is that you never know what's in front of you. 'Cause coming out of high school, I wasn't a Division I qualifier, so I was only getting like walk-on opportunities, and I don't come from a situation where I could afford that kind of stuff. So I went Division II. I was preparing to go JUCO, and then Northern Michigan came to the school, and they was like, we didn't think that you hadn't went anywhere. So they drove back 2 days later to bring me on a visit because there was no way that I was going to make it to Marquette, Michigan from Kankakee, Illinois. So they drove me up for a visit. I was on the visit. It was like a week before signing day. because I'm a kid, I'm like misinformed. Like I'm not like I'm thinking every like you decide where you going to college on signing day. So me and the other recruit that we was in the hotel room, he was like, you gonna commit? I'm like, nah, man, I'm still talking to other schools. Like, take my time. Like, he was like, bro, signing day is in a week. Like, I'm like, dang, I guess I'm finna commit. Signing day came. I signed. Didn't tell my mom. Didn't tell my dad. Like, so then I called. Like, what's up, mom? I just signed. She was like, sign where? I'm like, Northern Michigan. She was like, why would you do that? I'm like, because that's where I want to go to school. Like, so it was a whole ordeal. The coach had to come back to Kankakee, like, because he didn't meet my mom, none of that. Like, he hadn't met my parents. I just signed. Get to school. I started as a freshman out of camp in the sophomore year. Going into that spring ball, we had COVID. So then, like, when COVID hit, like, it was so much uncertainty. Like, you don't know what's happening. We had that whole semester online. We didn't play no football. We working out like over Zoom calls. That next year, we don't even have a season. And then I had to have surgery on my ankle. I had a bone spur. So I don't do that. I don't do that spring ball. That following season, which is like my junior year in school, but it's like it's only my second year on the field. I break my ankle 3 games in or 4 games in. I had like 300 yards, and like that was the first like really major injury that I ever had. I broke my wrist my freshman year of high school football, but your freshman year ain't really a whole lot, and I wasn't playing varsity. So breaking my ankle was like the first time I ever had to like really go through something like that took me away from the game, and that was really tough on me. And that's when I just had to like understand that like you just got to roll with the punches that life throw at you because you think you always got it mapped out, but you never do. And I was one of the people like, yeah, I don't get hurt like this, and that, and like just one play, my season was over. And then my senior year I had a solid season from a statistical standpoint, but we weren't winning many games. So then that's when I made the decision I wanted to enter the transfer portal, and then decided to transfer to Youngstown. For like that's the best decision that I could have made for myself, even to this day. My first year at Youngstown had a really good season, 1,000 yard rusher. That was actually my first 1,000 yard season in my college career, and I was moving up to Division One. Made the playoffs, so that was the Youngstown first time making the playoffs in like 7 years. So we everybody ride on a high, and then this past season, dealing with injuries, we finished 4-8. Like you always think you got it figured out, and you know it's ahead of you, but you really don't with life, and that's the biggest thing that I took away from my college career is like you never truly know what's ahead of you. You just got to roll with the punches and try to navigate through it as best you can.
Absolutely, I agree. So, Tyshon, obviously you had a standout career at Youngstown State, right? So, I want to talk about what do you think was the key to your success on the field?
The key to my success, I would say, was just finally like I didn't have a running back coach in my life until my last year at Northern Michigan. Going to a situation at Youngstown where we got GAs and teaching us or not teaching, you just got volunteers, like we got such a big vast staff, and being in an environment like that, it really helped me grow the mental side of my game, which is why I think I had the success I had at Youngstown was just like learning how to truly watch film, learning how to really have effective practices, like those kind of things is I feel like what led to success in the games because that was something that I didn't really have in Northern Michigan. It was more or less we're gonna practice, we're gonna go play the game, and that was it. At Youngstown, there's so much preparation that go into every single day down to the little details, and I feel like getting in an environment like that is what really helped me on the field for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure, I can see that. So, what would you say your biggest strengths are as a running back, and how have you worked on improving those throughout your college career?
My biggest strengths as a running back, I feel, are I always prided myself on never being taken down on first contact. So I break a lot of tackles. I can say with confidence. I like my chances in any one-on-one scenarios. Um, in my vision as a running back, I kind of see things before they happen. it's like I can't really explain it. It just happens. Like people ask me like, "How did you see that?" I'm like, "I really didn't. I just like you really just feel it." I feel like those is my biggest strengths as a running back. And the things that you try to do to, complement that is watch film, study the opponent, know who you're going against as far as my vision on the field. And then for just the breaking tackles and stuff, just contact balance and overall strength, try to be strong in my lower half because I kind of just absorb the contact and bounce off of it, in a sense. So those are kind of things that I try to do to complement that aspect of my game.
Yeah, for sure. Some things are just uncoachable, right? Like you're saying, like your vision, you can't really explain that. It's something that just comes naturally. So
Yeah, like I can't
yeah,
explain it.
you
I'm
can't
trying
explain it.
to.
Yeah,
That's no way for me to
yeah,
just explain.
unless you could feel it or do it, you can't really explain it. So
Yeah,
for sure. Go ahead, Wall. You're good.
Oh yeah. So I want to ask you a couple questions about, in general, the toughness of playing the running back position because you see a lot of super talented running backs. We've seen them over the years, guys that got all the physical measurables. He's 5'11", 215, or 6', 220, whatever a team's flavor is. He runs the 4.35 to the 4.4. He's got the broad jump. He's got the shuttle. He's got the cone drill numbers down. And then he gets to the league and you find out he has absolutely zero vision, or he's a guy that can't make that first guy miss. And I think that's a key factor as a running back. And that was kind of what made, I think, two guys who came out last year, matter of fact, Bijan Robinson from Texas and Jahmyr Gibbs from Alabama. Those two guys had the ability to make a 2-yard gain turn into a 5-yard gain, or a potential 3-yard loss becomes a 3-yard gain. That comes into play with, I think, a running back's innate ability. I think playing running back is the one position in football where everything is damn near freelanced. Once you get the football in your hand, you're kind of freestyling it. Most running backs tell you they don't know what their feet are about to do. They don't know where their hips about to go. They don't know what kind of shape. Well, you did this move during the game. I did. I don't remember doing that. Like everything for running backs is about muscle memory and second nature. Now you see these running backs who, I think the special ones, they can play in power zone, they can run off, they can play in power schemes completely, counters, they can do everything. What do you think the main difference is, or like mainly the biggest struggle is for a lot of talented running backs? Because you see these talented running backs get put in certain schemes. Because I think a lot of fans out there don't really understand. A lot of a running back success is based upon not only what type of offensive line he has, talent wise, but what type of blocking scheme he plays in. So how does those things really affect the running back and their success?
to touch on your first point with like how you say like when you have a running back that got all the measurables, all the testing is through the roof. I feel like one thing that get overlooked a lot is how does he play football? Like, because your film is your resume at the end of the day, and I feel like a lot of times with this whole process with the draft prep process, a lot of people look at the testing numbers and testing is important. Like, okay, if it's a guy that you want to see, can he run? We want a number for his speed. That's when it kind of matters. I think when you have people who don't have like a lot of production, but then they test out of this world, you kind of like take a chance on him, and now you hoping he could be something that on film he's not. And then like you say, to touch into certain people work better with certain schemes. For a running back like Jahmyr Gibbs, you want to run like outside zone, mid zone. You don't want to run a whole lot of power. You can run some gap scheme, but you don't want to be relying on gap scheme because with a smaller back like him, you want to get him out of space. You want to keep him away from all the big bodies. I feel like and some schools may accommodate to their back. If this is what he's good at, this is what we're gonna have him run. Whereas I feel like at Youngstown, we ran a little bit of everything. We had mid zone, we had outside zone, we had tight zone, we had gap scheme, we had power, we had option. Uh, a lot of running backs are held back from a lot of things. They don't get to see different systems to be able to go to the NFL and be able to succeed in those systems, I feel like a lot of it comes from just your situation and how quick of a learner are you is what really make the difference. Some people aren't very good learners, and every situation is different. But that's my take on like why you see certain guys not be able to translate is it all come from situation and then how quick can you pick up what they trying to teach you.
How big is football in the state of Illinois coming up there? Because, Illinois, when I was coming up, Chicago, it was always considered a basketball state. I don't know if it still is. Indiana was like that forever. How big is football in Illinois? Because I see even the football program at the University of Illinois, pretty resurrected.
Mhm.
They had some down years for a while. They're putting a lot of guys in the NFL now. Not to really talk about that school, but just the state of Illinois in general. How big is football there?
Football is getting a lot bigger in the Chicago area because I'm closer to Chicago than like the rest of Illinois. So I can't really speak for like Southern Illinois. But I know around the Chicago area, football is getting a lot bigger. It's a lot better ball being played than it has been in years past. Like, and I think it just really come from like the social media movement. Really, like it's a lot of kids in Chicago. Like I feel like Illinois football get overlooked because everybody look at it as a basketball state. It's a lot of kids that get left in the dark and don't get opportunities to go to school. But it's a lot of good football being played in Illinois now. And like I said, I think it's really been like the social media movement is what's helping football in Illinois get like more popular, like more kids want to play football in a sense. When you see somebody like Jahmyr Gibbs, it's a lot more kids that can be like Jahmyr Gibbs than it can be LeBron James. You know, it's a lot more kids that can throw a football than they can go dunk a football. They can tackle versus, covering or guarding somebody on the court. Like I feel like a lot of kids are realizing that they're not going to be 6'4", they're going to be 5'11". They might as well pick up football and put on some pads. I feel like that's the main thing. But football in Illinois is really overlooked. I get in a lot of arguments. People from Ohio or Michigan are like, but Illinois football is a lot better than where we are right now.
Why do you think that's so? Because you would think that as extensive as scouting is today, and like I go back to University of Illinois because that's the most polarizing, that's the biggest university there in Illinois. They've been recruiting a lot of kids out of the state of Florida. And it's hard to get Florida kids to come up north or to play in the Midwest. It's tough. So it's like, are they just viewing it the way they may view it as, you know what, you're just a bigger fish in a smaller bowl, and we're going to go all the way down south and get these Florida kids and bring them all the way up here because they got to be aware of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
They got to know of you. Or is it just people feeling like, well, I'm going to go get this 2-star kid from Florida or this 3-star kid from Florida, and he's just got to be better than you because he's from Florida or he's from Texas?
It's a lot of politics that go into it. Like you say, like you would think a lot of Illinois, like U of I, don't really recruit Illinois kids. And I can't really tell you why, because you would think with them being right in your backyard, you'd be able to get like, unless you like, I think a lot of stuff too is I feel like a lot of schools, a lot of the big schools I can say rely on like the recruiting sites and seeing stars and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of kids in Illinois get like overlooked, like I had 53 touchdowns my senior year, and I never talked to University of Illinois. Like they didn't give me a walk on, nothing. Like you would think 53 touchdowns would get you
That's crazy.
a conversation, from the biggest school in your state. And I just feel like you say, they try to look at those hotbeds like Florida, Texas, California. Like those kids down there, they probably better than the kids we got here. When I feel like it's the complete opposite. I feel like we can play football with anybody. And maybe that's me just being biased, but that's me seeing who's come out of Illinois, the people that I played against, the people that I played with. and seeing, the kind of ball that we play. And I think Illinois football is like super underrated, even from the schools in Illinois. Like, I think Northern Illinois is like the only like FBS school that's going to really recruit Illinois kids. So I think, every school got their thing, but if any school looking for a baller, all you got to do is go to the Chicago area and you're going to find somebody that can play football.
So we know that you're getting prepared for the NFL draft here coming up in April. It's coming up pretty quick. What are some of the things that you're focusing on improving as the draft approaches?
Really, my long speed, that's like the biggest question mark for me is the long speed. Like, you see the short area quickness, you see the burst, but scouts want to see a number attached to my name. So that's the thing I'm really focusing on, is trying to really run a good 40 for my size, obviously. And because I'm a stockier back, a thicker back, I'm not going to go out there and run a 4.3. But if I can get a 4.5, that's really good for a back like me, and just my overall quickness. I'm trying to test as as good as any other back coming out in the draft. With this obviously being a very good draft for the running back position, very deep, I'm trying to stack up with those guys along with the film that I have to my name, and like I say, the teams want to see the numbers. They want to see what you bench. They want to see what you brought. They want to see your 40 most of all. So those kind of things, training with Grissetti Performance, and he helping me a lot. Just really get my times down. I'm best shape I've probably been in my life, and I'm just looking to go out on my pro day and just blow all the expectations out the water.
Yeah. So it is a really deep running back class this year, right? What makes you stand out from the bunch, I guess you can say?
My film speak for itself. A lot of people say that numbers don't lie. I'm a firm believer in numbers do lie. You got to watch the film. And I feel like the level of competition that I done played against in college, like, yeah, I played Division II and FCS. When I played Division II, I played in the GLIAC. That's the toughest conference in all of Division II. Tougher than a lot of the FCS schools that I played against. I played in the Missouri Valley in FCS. That's by far and away the toughest FCS conference there is. And I feel like I played against that caliber of competition and showed that I'm a standout, that I'm one of the best performers. And I feel like that's all in itself speak for itself. And I'm a back, like, yeah, this is my 6th year, but I don't have a lot of tread on my tires, considering the fact that I missed the whole season due to COVID, and then I missed another season when I broke my ankle. A lot of at my old school, I only had one spring ball. I only had 2 spring balls. Played 4 seasons, so it's not a lot of tread on my tires. I'm still fresh, and I feel like I'm a guy. I can do anything. I can play in any scheme because I've played in every scheme there is to play in, whether it's high school, college. I'm a quick learner, not a guy that you got to really sit down and nail it into my head. I pick things up pretty quick, and I'm just a football player above everything else. I can say with confidence, a really good football player, and I feel like whatever team I end up on is going to see that.
NFL team asked you, why should we draft you? What would you say?
The same reasons I just gave you. I'm a really good football player, and I'm a fast learner, and I'm a guy that when I'm on the field, I stand out from people, and that's something that I pride myself on, is being the best on any field that I'm on. And I feel like even when I get to the NFL, I want to be the best on any field that I'm on. And any team that draft me, you're getting a really good football player who's going to give you what you're looking for.
All right, Ty. Well, good luck in the NFL draft. We appreciate your time, man, and good luck with everything.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Appreciate you guys bringing me on. Can't express how grateful I am for you guys to, reach out for this. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, of course. And
Appreciate
again,
you,
good
man.
luck, and we look forward
Good
to
luck
seeing
with
you in the
everything.
NFL.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.